infrastructure. CBS's Grace Seeger says the big debate is where the money will come from.
Biden has proposed raising the corporate tax rate, but for Republicans, this is really a non-starter because they don't want to do anything that would undo the 2017 tax cuts that were signed by former President Trump.
Last night, the former president used his voice to address Republicans in North Carolina amid being silenced from Facebook and Twitter.
Trump is still banned from most social media platforms. Friday, actually, Facebook announced that it would be extending that ban until 2023.
CBS's Christina Ruffini. A federal judge has overturned California's ban on assault rifles. Robin Thomas is executive director of the Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence.
We expect that decision will be appealed very quickly. In the meantime, nothing changes in California pending that appeal.
President Biden announced a series of initiatives to end housing discrimination. CBS's Allison Keyes explains the significance.
Lydia Culp, head of the advocacy group, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, says
because you're in a certain zip code, they discriminate.
This keeps communities from reaping the economic benefits of a growing population spending money on homes.
We have to do something about this, or it's going to affect the value of the neighborhoods.
Rent is on the rise.
Tenants say higher rates may force them to move.
Most will be facing a rent increase at the end of their current lease.
Janet Lou Casey with the Arizona Tenants Association.
You are perfectly within your rights to ask for rent reduction.
CBS's Stephen Kaufman. This is CBS News.
Get CBS News Radio on the Odyssey app. All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. News, music, sports, and podcasts. Download the Odyssey app today.
Heads up, America. This is Drew Berquist, former U.S. counterterrorist, fighting for your freedoms right here at home, which is why you need to join Mammoth Nation. We are America's conservative discount club. Mammoth Nation was created by conservatives for conservatives of all ages. Now you have a safe place to shop that fights against the cancel culture. You get great deals on things like hotels, shopping, wireless, sporting goods, Patriot Gold, and a lot more. We just keep on growing. Cool thing is, proceeds from your membership dues and purchases help to support conservative businesses. Mammoth Nation also supports conservative candidates, military, veterans, law enforcement, and our American way of life. Membership starts at just $19 a year. Go to MammothNation.com, and if you hurry, you'll get a 30% discount on a lifetime membership. It's time we all took a stand. Shop with companies that want to support America, not destroy it. That's MammothNation.com. Get on board and become a lifetime member today.
WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWL AM/FM and .com.
Partly cloudy conditions to start off our Sunday across southeast Louisiana. Scattered showers remain the forecast today. Temperatures below average, climbing into the lower 80s.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan, will be along with your full weather forecast. A mass shooting in New Orleans East overnight. We get the story from WWL TV's Paul Dudley.
8 people are in the hospital this morning after a shooting in New Orleans East. It happened on the I-10 South service road near Reed Boulevard. Police say 2 victims were taken to the hospital by EMS. The 6 others arrived on their own. At this point, we only know the condition of one of the victims. A woman was shot in the face and is listed in critical condition.
2 more shootings took place, one on Poydras and Carondelet, another on Canal Street. If you have any information about these crimes, you are urged to call Crime Stoppers. Meanwhile, a rash of car burglaries at a motel. WWL TV's Devin Bartolotta has the details.
Several hotel guests woke up to a frustrating but not uncommon sight in New Orleans East: car break-ins. 15 break-ins happened at the Trident Inn and Suites in the 12,000 block of the I-10 service road. There were still pieces of windows and shards of glass in the parking lot this morning. Nolan and Amanda Dewey, who were visiting the city for their anniversary, were among the victims. Instead of celebrating, the couple from near Montgomery, Alabama, spent today cleaning up and packing up, ending their trip early. They say they waited for hours for police to arrive, but no one showed up.
Now here's Mark Menard and WWL Sports.
Paul Maneri has at least one more game left on the docket before he heads into retirement after LSU staved off elimination in the NCAA regionals yesterday.
5-5 our score. Bases loaded, one out. The 2-2 pitch. Ground ball up the middle. Base hit. Dugas will score, and the Tigers walk them off and stay alive in the NCAA tournament.
The Tigers needed 10 innings, but eventually knocked off Central Connecticut State 6-5. Now they draw a rematch with Gonzaga today at 5 o'clock. A win puts LSU into a matchup against Oregon later tonight at 9. A loss ends their season. We'll bring you LSU Gonzaga on WWL, starting with pregame coverage at 4:30. Louisiana Tech picked up their first regional loss at home, falling to NC State 8-3. They'll need a win over Alabama at 2 today to avoid elimination. If the Bulldogs are victorious, they'll face NC State again tonight at 6. Both Southern and McNeese saw their playoff journeys end, with the Jags losing to Fairfield in Austin 6-2. The Cowboys getting ousted by Oregon State in Fort Worth 10-5. I'm Mark Menard, WWL Sports.
The forecast from your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
Partly cloudy conditions to start off our Sunday morning across southeast Louisiana, but once again, rain chances remain pretty high through the morning, lasting into the afternoon. Temperatures will be below average, climbing into the lower 80s. The flash flood watch in effect up until tonight. You want to make sure you have an umbrella handy. Quick, heavy downpours are possible. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, and tomorrow, once again, rain chances remain moderate. So you want to keep that umbrella with you as we kick off the work week. From your Weather Expert Forecast Center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, good morning, Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Just call 260-1870. We're on till 10 o'clock. Good morning, Albert.
Hey, Doug. Good morning.
We usually start out with sports, and I want to get to LSU baseball, but, listening to the news today. Now, and I'm going to say this to you as being an attorney for the Hospitality Association, restaurants. They had a shooting, eight shootings in New Orleans East. They had 15 break-ins at a hotel of a car. They had, several carjackings last night. Typical Saturday night in New Orleans.
We're becoming Chicago.
How long can this happen before people start saying we're not going to go out to restaurants in New Orleans. We're not going to come down. And they had a couple whose car was broken into, called the police. They never showed up. And I'm not faulting the police. I'm faulting the fact that there's, in the last 12 years, there's been a intentional action to undermine the financing of the New Orleans Police Department. At what point do you think people are just going to say, we're not coming to New Orleans anymore, which is our number one cultural?
Well, I don't know, nationwide, what the reaction is, but I can tell you from people that live in other parishes that we're done with New Orleans. We're not going there. We don't feel safe. We don't like the politics. There is no leadership. And I mean, I'm just hearing that over and over again. Those aren't my opinions, obviously, but they're opinions of people that I talk to regularly, and I hear those sentiments. And it's a shame. Something needs to be done. One of the problems I think in this spike in crime is that so many people are home. So many people are home, not working, sitting at home, getting paid extra money to not work. Blaming it on this pandemic that's essentially, you don't want to say over, but it's in its last days. And then meanwhile, unemployment is high because they're getting paid to stay home. And when you stay home all day, all summer, all fall and spring, you got nothing to do but maybe get in trouble. And so, if you're working all day and you're at your restaurant or you're at your place of employment, wherever you are, was the idle hands of the devil's workshop, and so you got nothing to do, and you're going to go maybe get in trouble, find something to do, some cash in your pocket. I don't know.
What strikes me, I live in St. Tammany Parish. I wouldn't consider moving to Arlington Parish, quite frankly, is just from a safety perspective. I think New Orleans is beautiful in itself, and it's got a lot to offer, and the school system, obviously, which would have applied years ago, is the fact that the lack of accountability of the people who are presiding over government, and the lack of outrage. I mean, they had people, Christian singers getting castigated on the media for not, for having a concert without a mask, but then the lack of outrage about the level of crime, the lack of outrage of the lack of doing anything about it. And I think, at the very least, Billy Nungesser had said, let's secure the French Quarter and make that a safe zone at the very least, so we can keep our cultural economy going. So at least they say, look, don't go to the other areas of New Orleans, that they're dangerous. But you can go to the French Quarter in the warehouse district and, in Marigny and be secure. It'd be, at least secure that for a start, and then work your way out, because at least you'll have some money coming in to finance it. But the lack of accountability, the lack of, and really the lack of, I'm surprised of, voters just saying, okay, this is where we live, eight shootings, 15 carjackings, police non-response, typical Saturday night. We're not going to do anything about it. I just found it very, very interesting. But I think economically, I don't see, at some point there's going to be a tipping point where people say, we're just, we can go to, we can go to the mountains, we can go to Gatlinburg, we can go here, we can go there, we'll go to New Orleans. We're not going to go to New Orleans because it's too darn, it's dangerous. It's just too darn dangerous.
Well, I have a friend who moved to Old Metairie from Harahan, and he had a very, very nice house in Harahan. He said, yeah, I sold my house to a doctor. He and his wife lived uptown for 40 years. And he said, why'd you move out of uptown? He said, we're done. He said, we're done. We can't do it anymore. So you call the police, they don't come. The streets are broken. Sometimes they don't pick up your garbage. You can't, you got to look used to be look both ways to cross the street. Now you got to look both ways to get out of your house, because you don't know if somebody's going to carjack your car or beat you over the head for your watch. And he said, it's not worth my life to continue to still say I live in New Orleans. I mean, you're not getting any help from the powers that be. And one of the problems, I think, nationwide is this big anti-police push. And so what you've done is you've taken these brave people that 99.9% of are good, hardworking people trying to do the right thing, and they've focused and plastered the images of the rogue cops that are doing what they're doing, and all of a sudden all cops are bad, and now that you've handcuffed the cops, they can't do their job because the media is going to not play the whole video that's been turned in. They're going to play the 2-minute, video where somebody's getting wrestled to the ground because they haven't cooperated. And, people are like, well, why do you have to wrestle them to the ground? It's because they're kicking us and resisting arrest. Should we just let them go? And so I think that's been part of the problem, that a lot of these police officers have said, you know what? I'm not risking my life. I'm not risking more than that, my job, my career, and everything else. I might go to jail for life because some jury is angry and I'm in the wrong city and I'm going to get the wrong jury. and they're going to see what happens. And I'm going to have to maybe pull a gun and shoot this person because they're not resisting. I mean, because they're not cooperating. And, you know, and every one of these guys that have gotten shot, and girls that have gotten shot by a police officer, have one thing in common.
Well,
they resisted arrest.
Here's the thing that, and you know, I've said, and I've said on WWL during the week, is the issue's not race. The issue is the level of force at the level of force in connection with resisting of arrest. That's the issue. Is what's the appropriate level of use of force after someone is resisting arrest? Period. It's not now. I mean, I understand how the race hustlers bootleg that issue to things that happened 40 and 50 years ago, and that and there's but it's not that. It's all about is what's the appropriate level of force to use against someone who's resisting arrest. And that's the issue.
Imagine the fear in a policeman, a policewoman's heart when they go stop somebody and say, you know what, some jury, if this goes any further than this stop, some jury is going to determine whether or not my force was reasonable. And you know, without having any police training, without having any police knowledge, without having been in a ride along where they see the extent of violence that these criminals are capable of, and that they have to be ready for worst case scenario every time they pull someone over, or every time they stop someone on the street. And you know, it's a real hard pill to swallow that, gee whiz, this action is now going to be judged by what is supposed to be a jury of my peers. But with this big anti-police sentiment that the media has been fanning, and defund police, you know, how ridiculous is that? Defund the police. You know, now is there some administrative things that can be done that maybe make them more efficient? Always, but to defund them, and now what? So call the police and see what happens when you defund them, and somebody's breaking into your home, or somebody's, you know, beating up your kid in front of you. You know, it's craziness.
Well, we gotta go to a break, but we have an election coming up for city of New Orleans, and I'm just amazed how this is not an issue, and the people in charge are not being held accountable for this. I'm just amazed.
In years past, if you wanted more money in the coffers, you would always make, oh, well, we're going to spend more money on police and firefighters and teachers. I mean, that was always the backbone of trying to raise money for the city and get people to vote yes for those things, because the vast majority of the people want that. But in this day and age, you know, they're not making simple arrests because it's just not worth it. And then you have these people on TV saying, oh yeah, well, they were just breaking into cars. Well, when is it going to stop? What is the action that requires somebody to say, wait a minute, this has to stop, and crime has to stop, and we need to stop it at its infancy before, you know, young kids breaking into cars decide, okay, well, I'm going to do something a little more violent, a little more exciting, a little more whatever, and you know, it's gotta stop at the earlier stages, and it's just not.
Well, Tommy Tucker, before your break, had a guest on, I think, about a week and a half ago. There's a couple that lives uptown, and basically what they said, he was just dumbfounded. He said they both sleep they live off Magazine Street, I think, in the Garden. They both sleep with a gun on their night table, and when they hear something, they both grab it and run up. I mean, you know, that's like living in Iraq during the Middle East War. I mean, that's literally like it is maybe in South Israel, where you get bombed, you know, occasionally. So it's just very interesting that we have an election coming up in, I think 5 months, and you don't hear a word about anybody addressing this issue. You know, so be it. So what do we know? We're just Sunday morning lawyers who talk once a week for 2 hours. All right, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
Stay connected to your favorite stations and discover your next favorite on the Odyssey app.
There's a world of audio to explore.
Connect with your favorite music, news, and sports
All
stations.
right, everything's looking pretty good.
Interviews, live performances, breaking news, and more.
And follow local stations.
No one on the phone yet.
With what's happening near you.
No matter where you are, the Odyssey app keeps you connected to all the audio you love.
Odyssey.
Odyssey.
AUDACY. Download the Odyssey app on the App Store or Google Play.
Diamonds are true. Only nature can give them birth. Only the best craftsmen can make them come alive. And only those with a true passion for diamonds can lead you to something you'll love. Oakwood Heart doesn't move jewelry. We move people. With handcrafted, ethically sourced, high-quality diamond engagement rings at a smart price. Uniquely styled rings that capture your love. After all, that's what's real. That's what's truly beautiful. Oakwood Heart has been creating fine jewelry since 1927. We ask you to look beyond the shine. Shop smart. Choose from our vast collection or let our master craftsmen design and create a one-of-a-kind engagement ring made just for you. Shop online and around town. The more you know, the better we look. Breathtaking diamonds, stunning styles, always at the best possible prices. Oakwood Heart Jewelers on Metairie Road. Beautiful in more ways than one.
Ready to remodel your home? Ready to get inspired? Then get ready for the St. Tammany Home and Remodeling Show. Thousands of the newest home products and ideas are waiting for you. Kitchens, baths, windows, flooring, landscaping, and more. Everything to create your outdoor paradise, gourmet kitchen, or new addition, plus Certified Louisiana Food Fest. Free tastings and samples of great food. All from Louisiana homegrown companies. The St. Tammany Home and Remodeling Show, presented by the North Shore HBA, June 12th and 13th. Castine Center, Manderville.
Doing your best work from home is not easy when you don't have the right space. California Closets will help you create a custom solution that works for you, your family, and your life. Whether it's a small space, shared space, multifunctional space, or kids space, our professional design consultants will help you get organized and make your space one that works better for you. Now you can love where you live and work. Schedule your free in-home or virtual design consultation today at californiaclosets.com.
This is Attorney Doug Sunseri, host of All Things Legal on Sunday morning.
This is Attorney Michelle Demarest Sunseri. As a result of COVID-19, many are experiencing unique family law difficulties resulting in divorce and custody issues.
Also, we learn the importance of estate planning, wills, and powers of attorney.
At Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm, we make the complex understandable.
Call me at my Metairie office at 504-837-1304.
Or call me, the boss lady, on the North Shore at my new office in Mandeville at 985-624-9697.
Boss lady, really?
Hey, y'all, spring is here, and you're ready to get out and celebrate. Here's what's happening around the state. June 3rd through 5th, Bugs and Bands in Kickapoo. June 4th through 6th, Beaumonge in Gaines, and Sicilian Heritage Festival in Independence. June 5th, the Peach Festival in Ruston, and Cajun Country Jam in Gonzales. So make your plans to laissez les bon temps rouler.
This is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Plan your road trip at LouisianaIsATrip.com.
With 24/7 customer service and guaranteed repairs, your Progressive policy works the way it's supposed to. Unlike this stressful meditation guide.
Take a deep breath. Focus on all the things you have to do. Did someone make the vet appointment yet? You don't know? That feels like something you should know.
Switch to Progressive today.
You are a mess.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Repairs through Progressive Network shops guaranteed for as long as you own or lease your car.
There's a lot of streaming services out there, each filled with reality TV, comedy, drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one dedicated entirely to nonfiction TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming today.
All things legal on WWL-AMFM.com and the Odyssey app. Connect with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on the Oakwood Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, UK Lawyers. Now, if you look at our Facebook stream, I can see a 2021 balloons in Albert's background left over from the party last night. So, first of all, congratulations to your daughter, Allie, who's graduated from PA school.
Yeah, she's a doctorate in physician assistant. She will start work at Oxner in July or August and be off the payroll. So that's going to be nice. Yeah. Of course, I hear they're never really off the payroll, so we'll have to figure that out.
It's just the spending goes in different categories.
Right, but and then it was my 60th birthday yesterday. Yeah, and of course I had to share the spotlight. Actually, there was no sharing it. It was a big party for Allie and her two friends. Alyssa Chaplin graduated got her PharmD as a pharmacist degree, and then another one of her very good friends, Emily Hickman, graduated from law school and will be taking the bar, sitting for the bar in July. Just three good friends, three really great girls that have worked very hard, and kudos to them.
When I say when Lally was a freshman at LSU, we went and had coffee at a coffee shop at 11 o'clock, and Allie was studying at 11 o'clock on a Friday night when her peers were probably acting like, peers. I'm saying other 18-year-olds were acting like knuckleheads.
Yeah.
And so
and she worked hard.
She worked very hard. So congratulations. Yeah. And also, too, given the fact that you making 60 and, sort of having this Tom Brady discussion we had last year, every year when he finishes, will you be retiring from, basketball, football, or are you going to continue playing?
I retired from football years and years ago. When my son started running track on Saturdays, I quit the Saturday leagues, and I didn't have the hamstrings for it anymore. Every time I'd come home,
Now, what about
that? I still play. I'm playing Thursday night.
Playing Thursday. You anticipate continuing to play your Thursday night game into your 60s.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct. Of course, I'm not playing with any high level of competency anymore, but I'm out there having a good time, and it's an old man's league. We all just kind of make fun of each other, and it's competitive, and we have a good time.
Now,
it's the camaraderie, right?
Right.
You ask all those athletes, those pro athletes, what they miss most about leaving football or basketball, or whatever, and it's the locker room. It's the the friends, the good friends that they made, and just having a good time, sharing something that they love in common. And that's kind of
for all you ABA aficionados, it's the Billy Pulse League. If anybody knows who Billy Pulse is, when he played for the San Antonio Spurs, he looked like a beer league third baseman in softball. So that's sort of, I guess, would be the accurate. So all right. So the announcement is you will be playing basketball.
I'll be back next year.
All right.
I'll be back. I'll still be practicing law.
All right. Also, one of the things I looked at 51 laws that passed in the legislature. Nothing that will increase economic activity in Louisiana. So that's number one. But they had one interesting law.
Before we do that, before the last break, we were talking about this problem with crime and just apathy in the city, et cetera, et cetera. So, how easy is it, right, for us to identify that problem? It slaps you in the face if you pick up a newspaper, or if you get on the internet, or if you're looking at any news channel, you see it, and it's almost ad nauseum. So the question is, and I'd like to pose the question to our listeners, it's easy to sit here and point out the problem. What are the solutions? What solutions do our listening audience see that, that maybe somebody with some authority that might be listening to this program can say, hey, that's a good idea. Maybe we can try that. Maybe we can, so please call in if you have some solutions, even if it's a comment, please call in and give us your opinion on that, because I think it's important that we all be able to have a forum for that kind of dialogue, right? Because that's what's missing. What's missing is people sitting down and really trying to figure this out before we become Detroit or Chicago or, South LA or, any of these places where it's just gotten so bad, there are almost no-go zones. And our city doesn't have the geography to be able to isolate it anymore. It's
Yeah,
spread.
I think there was a statistic, and I don't know, but it's basically along the lines that more people died in Chicago than the second Iraq War.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, so it just gives you the magnitude of what's been happening and the fact that nobody does anything about it. Also, just back on your birthday, Edwa wishes you a happy birthday and say have a great.
I see that on our chat. Thank you, Edwin.
So
got a lot of nice texts and a lot of nice, messages from Facebook and other social media. Thank you to everyone. It's been a great ride, 60 years. Hope there are many more.
And again, there will be who will be playing flag football into his 60s. So that's
not flag football. Not flag football.
Basketball.
Thank you.
And the Billy
I gave that up years ago.
Yeah, basketball. Saw in the legislature, and they had one bill that was passed, which was very interesting. And without going into the specifics, we could talk about it. But it was about co-owned property and the problems that we're starting to have with, or issues regarding co-owned property. Now, we originally encountered this 16 years ago after Katrina, when people who had an insurance claim had wanted to get rode home, and they had to get their title cleared up, and there was all this, you might have had 3 or 4 generations of possessions. You might have had 50 or 60 owners of particular property. And now you have a lot of people who, in a state, have inherited property. You might have 3 or 4 siblings, or you might have more than that. And one of the siblings live in the property, and the other 5 or 6 aren't benefit from it, or 2 or 3 siblings. And they made a series of changes in the law to make it more easier to partition these properties and get it back into commerce. So I guess the specific situation is, say, mom and dad passed, and they had 4 siblings inherit the property 1/4, the family home 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. And then one of the heirs moves in, and the other 3 heirs are saying either you buy us out, or we sell the property and split it up 1/4. And the heir that's moved in saying, no, I like having 1/4 ownership, but getting 100% of the benefit.
Right.
And before, the only way you could sell that property is through public sale. And when you did a public sale, through the sheriff, they had sheriff fees. The cost of the process would eat into the eventual recovery, and it was very cumbersome. And then they made a series of changes to sell it by private sale. And Governor Edwards just signed another bill that either further facilitates private sales, and it has to do with absentee owners or non-consenting owners, saying, because even when the court would order a private sale, which the last amendment dealt with, the objecting heir who didn't want to get out would refuse to sign off on the sale even after court order. So in other words, the court would order the property be sold, and the heir said, no, I'm not going to sign it. And then the judge you'd have to come back again, and the judge would have to threaten to put him in the jail or contempt or something. Sometimes they still wouldn't sign it, and the property would be tied up. So it's dealing with and making it easier to sell co-owned property together by private sale, where you get it in an easier fashion. But that's a very common problem right now with heirs owning property with their siblings. One sibling's getting 100% of the benefit of it, and the other siblings are saying, hey, we own half, a third of this. We'd like our portion, and they don't want to buy them out.
Right.
So, but this happens quite often. Now, I always, when administering an estate, I always try to deal with those issues while the property is inside the estate and prior to placing all three of them or the heirs in possession, because it's a little easier to deal with inside the estate.
Yeah. The problem with that sometimes is that you have a married couple that owned a house and mom died 10 years ago and dad's still left with the house. Well, mom died without a will, probably without a succession.
Right.
Now the four children own half an interest in that house. It's subject to a usufruct. And so that's the other step that you have to take sometimes is you can't just deal with the sale of the house in the succession of dad now, because even though you can try to sell his portion, the other four children each have an ownership interest that's, as a result of their mom's death. And so, again, it complicates things a little further, that you have to get that issue resolved before you can actually sell the property.
Yes. All right. Here's a little break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
Back to work, back to traffic.
I can't stand bad traffic.
We can make it easier.
They give me my traffic reports.
Find out where the traffic jams are.
Because I need to get to and from work every day in as little time as possible.
Traffic reports.
So you don't get stuck in a long line of traffic. So that I can take an alternate route.
So you can make it to work on time that help you get there faster.
Because I don't want to get stuck somewhere for too long.
You want to find alternate routes, and having those kind of reports are important.
Traffic matters to me.
From WWL.
At Oakland Heart Jewelers, we offer a vast selection of breathtaking diamond jewelry. Choose from dazzling rings, earrings, bracelets, and necklaces like no other, and in every price range. See exciting new styles from designers like David Yurman, Penny Preval, Mikimoto Pearls, and Marco Biccico. World-renowned for stunning gold designs by skilled Italian artisans. And of course, shop the Oakland Heart Collection, designed exclusively for New Orleans by our award-winning craftsmen right here in our Metairie Road store. At Oakland Heart, we offer extraordinary jewelry in every price range, and we offer flexible interest-free financing options. Shop smart, online or around town. Simply compare. There's nothing like Oakland Heart diamond jewelry anywhere. For that special jewelry, for that one-of-a-kind love, shop smart for the best prices possible at Oakland Heart Jewelers on Metairie Road. Beautiful in more ways than one.
I'm former NBA player Don Chaney. For years, I had carpal tunnel syndrome and joint pain. Then I started having heart-related symptoms like fatigue and palpitations. Turns out I had heart failure caused by hereditary transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare, life-threatening disease underdiagnosed in African Americans. If you're African American and over 50 with heart failure experiencing unresolved symptoms, talk to your doctor or visit DonKnowsHisHeart.com.
Brought to you by Pfizer. New Orleans is ready to get back to work, and DKI Office Solutions is ready to help you create comfortable, functional, and safe office spaces. With our large inventory and our 9 team, we can work with you to configure the best possible way to set up your office. Visit Get back to work.
At Community Coffee, we've been making great tasting coffee for over 100 years. But what makes us different isn't just how long we've been around. It's how far we're willing to go in pursuit of the perfect cup. We select only the finest beans and use over 4 generations of family roasting experience to give you the richest, most delicious coffee around. Find Community Coffee at your local grocery store or visit communitycoffee.com to order some today.
Hi, folks. Joel Myers for my friends at Best Chevrolet. At Best Chevrolet, they know a Chevy buyer is generally looking for 3 things. Number 1, they want a great price. 2, they want a top-notch service department. And 3, Chevy buyers want an enjoyable, no-hassle buying experience. I can tell you, you're going to get all 3 at Best Chevrolet. On Veterans Boulevard, where Metairie meets Kenner, or at bestchevrolet.com. Best Chevrolet, a proud member of the Gail Benson Automotive family of dealerships.
Are you a business owner doing your own bookkeeping? Why? It makes no sense, literally. Focus on what you do well, like growing your business, and let Accounting Services Unlimited handle your bookkeeping. Hi, this is Thomas Fontes. Accounting Services Unlimited is insanely affordable and will come to you. Call for a free quote. Accounting Services Unlimited, 504-717-6200. 6253. That's 717-6253. Or visit us at asu-llc.com.
Brandon Holly here. Stylish, quality, custom doors. ReliefWindows.com.
Rejuvenate your nights with Rejuvame. RejuvameMedical.com.
Hey, Baton Rouge, we want your stuff. DependableStorage.com.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
We're all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. Cut up six-pack rings and reduce your use of plastic to keep it out of our waterways and the ocean. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Now, more All Things Legal, underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinion shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you weekend lawyers. All things. All right. I was looking at this ledger of some of the laws that were passed by the legislature. More to come, but this is the first batch, 51. And we're talking about the fact that you made 60, you're not retiring from basketball, you'll be playing into your 60s. There's one law, I'm going to tie it together. There's one law that states, that was passed, that says you have a time limit in a voting machine. And then it shuts off. So what I suspect they'll do is they'll put a shot clock in voting machines, and you got to get finished. So I guess, has that been a problem where someone stays in it? You ever see someone just in a voting machine? Oops, I lost you. There you go. Yeah.
Technically, if you want to keep people from voting, you get a group of people in there and spend 15, 20 minutes in the voting machine, and some people might be standing in line and get frustrated and leave, or, I'm guessing that's the intent behind that law. Get in and get out, and don't cause a line or cause frustration or cause people to not exercise their vote.
Now, do you think this was because of the last election when somebody got in a voting booth, they're saying, gee, I wonder whether I should vote for Biden or Trump, and they were just undecided at the time, and had to sit 10 or 15 minutes in the voting booth.
Yeah, that was a tough one. It was hard to decide between the two, and everybody had that problem, right? There were not people that were in favor of Trump or people that were in favor of Biden. They went in there and just thought about it the whole time.
That's right. They didn't have their decision made until they pulled that curtain.
Exactly.
So. All right. We were talking a little bit about, co-owned property and partitioned, and I thought I might give a little more foundation to it. But basically, this generation who is in their 70s, 80s, and 90s were more savers. They accumulated property, and have paid off residences. They have, if they have a house, it's probably fully paid off. And in a state, when they pass, they'll a lot of times they'll leave their home, which is one of their bigger assets, to the children. And they might have 2, 3, 4, 5 children, what have you. And you could do one of two ways. I mean, you could sell the property while it's in the estate, and then divide up the money and close out the estate. But sometimes, what happens is, they just simply say, okay, we're going to place all the children in possession of this property or the family home. So you have 4 owners or 3 owners. And that poses problems because you might have one who lives there, and then you got maintenance, and you got taxes, and you got insurances, and sometimes that poses a problem. Now, my personal preference or recommendation is let's sell everything, turn it into cash, because it's easy to split up cash than it is to split up a house. You can't take a chainsaw to a house and say, you get this portion, you get this portion, you get this portion. But when it does arise where you have multiple owners to a property, it's generally sort of a general environment where there could be a problem because you would have maybe one person living in the property, one person maintaining the property, another person paying for the taxes and insurance. That causes a little problem to it. And
right.
Or you might have one person living in the property getting 100% of the benefit, and the other two or three owners are getting zero benefit.
Well, and I think a good reason to try to get the property sold through the succession is you have a coach. You have someone in charge at that point because you will typically have an executive appointed or administrator that the court has given authority to make these decisions, and given that also authority, but also the responsibility of paying the taxes, making sure all those things are done. Whereas once the heirs are placed in possession, they're four co-owners, and now are they going to fight over this responsibility? Or is one of them going to just throw their hands up and say, "You pay the taxes. I don't want to fool with it." And I see that all the time. Yeah, I've been living in the house, been paying the taxes. I've been doing this. My brother lives out of town. He hadn't paid for anything over the years. I had to put a new air conditioner in. He hadn't done anything. And so, I want half the money back, that I've paid for all that. And so, we see these kind of disputes frequently. And you're right, Doug, if there's a way to even get it into one of their names, but just do it through the succession. When the succession's closed, it's done and it's finalized. And, you have the one owner or the two owners. Somebody might want to keep it as investment property or whatever the case may be. And that's fine if there's enough in the estate to satisfy the others with more cash or more other assets, then that makes perfect sense to do.
Now the new law is talking about when you have co-owned property. One of the provisions in the new law says that if a co-owner wants to buy the other owners out, that should be given priority, and which I think the courts generally did anyway in an informal manner, because you always want, because it's a lot more smooth.
And you keep it in the family,
So that was another provision of the new law. It's let's see, it's House Bill 400, Act number 27. If you want to look it up, but it's it's making provisions, making it easier to sell co-owned property, because I know a couple of years ago, before they made the initial revisions, you really had a hard time. You had to go through a lot of extra steps to sell this co-owned property, and when you did, the expenses, the attorney's fees grew, and it was a finite pie, so the cost of the process and the time for the process was greater.
And the judges didn't like the old law either, because it tied their hands.
Right.
It tied their hands, and it tied up the court system. If we could go ahead and let the judge appoint an appraiser, and judge appoints a real estate agent, you've got to buy it within a certain range of the appraised price. You got, if it sells for this, you got to sell it. And then, then it's over with, and you don't have to go to the courts. They don't have to publicize it. They don't have to, have the sheriff get involved and actually get pennies on the dollar as opposed to the full value. And what would happen is the party with the most money among the heirs would benefit from a sheriff's sale, because they could actually go in and afford to buy the other heirs out. Whereas, let's say somebody who was taking care of mama all of her life, and, she stopped working or whatever, and now she's living in the house. She doesn't have that opportunity or the money to go in and buy the other heirs out. And so, if the person that was not living in the house had more money and more financial means to buy it, they can insist on a sheriff's sale and go to show up at the sheriff's sale and, bid it up to whatever, and buy it themselves. And then that sibling living in the house is actually going to get less now for their share. So it took that little advantage away for somebody who wanted to kind of screw their sibling over. So
Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this free timeout.
One of the most influential figures in the Christian conservative movement mired in an alleged sex scandal.
Welcome back to Gangster
Okay, you're going to have Judge just a shade over 4 minutes.
Jr. and Liberty University.
We got nothing to hide. We've operated a squeaky clean organization here for decades.
Please listen and follow Gangster Capitalism, a presentation of C13 Originals, a Cadence 13 studio, available now for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, and wherever you get your shows.
I'm Erin, and this is my life with California Closets. I purchased a historic home that's over 150 years old. One of the biggest things old houses don't have is closet storage and organization. And in a modern life, you really need to store a lot of things. Working with California Closets was the only way to get exactly what I needed. It really makes my life better. I finally have my dream home, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it.
Schedule your free design consultation today at CaliforniaClosets.com.
At Mike Brenner Injury Attorneys, we know that car wrecks don't take the weekends off, and neither do we. If you've been hurt in a wreck over the weekend, don't wait until Monday to get the help you need right now. We have people standing by, ready to take your call, ready to give you free advice, and ready to help you get the medical attention you need. You don't have to wait until Monday to call an attorney. We're the 24/7 injury attorneys, and we're available to get you the help you need right now.
Go big, get Mike. Hurt in a wreck, Mike Brenner's the one. Call 345-1111.
No boat shows? No problem. Boat Stuff has over 100 boats on order. Come in today for boat show savings on Boat Stuff's full line of coastal boats, including Avid, Blue Wave, Vexus, Sea Fox, and Regulator. Boats and Yamaha motors are coming in weekly, all with boat show savings. Make no waves about it. Get your boat and Yamaha outboard from Boat Stuff in Slidell, Harvey, Port Sulphur, and Hammond, or at boatstuff.com.
Diamonds Direct says hello to summer with the hottest offer ever. 5 years, zero interest financing on any purchase. Yes! Now for a limited time, you get Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable price, pay nothing down, and spread your payments over 5 years with zero interest. It's the smartest and best way to buy. And with this, it's so easy to splurge. A $9,000 designer bracelet comes out to just $150 a month. A $12,000 engagement ring is just $200 a month. And nothing's held back. All fashion rings, every engagement ring now, diamond earrings, all new designer fashion jewelry, large, rare diamonds. Whether you spend $3,000 or $300,000, you can get 5 years, zero interest financing. Celebrate summer, celebrate life, celebrate love. Don't miss this chance to get that piece of jewelry they'll love and appreciate for years. And take advantage of 5 years, zero interest financing with no money down. Now for a limited time only, and only at Diamonds Direct. On approved credit. On Severn Avenue, across from Lakeside Mall.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance to buy $1 million of affordable term life for you. All you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-568-2790. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-568-2790. 800-568-2790.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Aucoin Hart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
All right, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. You can call us at a law firm at 504-837-1304, 504-837-1304, or on a North Shore at Mandeville, 985-624-9697. All right, Albert, you got a couple of happy birthdays from Steve. Albert, back on his feet. Wish you a happy birthday. And we got a text from Brian. He said, "Good morning, Tigers. Live another day." I was going to talk about that after the news and next break. And he said, "Real simple on the voting shot clock, because we had talked about Louisiana passed a law where they're going to put a shot clock or voting shot clock in the voting booth, so that you got to you have to pull the lever in a certain period of time." And his advice is read the damn ballot before you get to the poll. So thank you, Brian, for that. He's a Brother Martin grad, so he put that Brother Martin education to good use and giving that good advice there. So yeah, again, I just keep thinking, when people went into the voting booth this past November, gee, I wonder if I like Trump or Biden. They're so similar. It's just such a, it's just such a choice. So anyway,
There were a number in all fairness, but yeah.
No, I know, but with Brian says something. The best advice
Read it ahead of
is the most
time.
common sense advice. Read it before, rather than especially those amendments. Now, my grandfather gave some great advice on amendments when he said voting, because I used to complain about reading them. He says, if it's a tax, vote against it. That was his general advice, because he said, once you vote for it, it ain't coming back. So
exactly.
But I'm not saying that. I'm just repeating what he told me. Is if when it came to when in doubt. But this is America, and so everybody does what they want to do. But that was just his particular advice. So there. But we're sort of wrapping up on co-owned property, and it sort of really becomes a mess too. And we're getting this more and more. Is that if you had some of this generational property that they didn't have successions filed for, you might have 10, 15, 20 owners now.
Right.
And
then to try to get all of that together to pay an attorney to get it straightened out. Well, this one doesn't want to pay, and that one doesn't have any money, and this one's out of town, and and it's like, I'm the person that's going to be fronting all the money to get this done.
And a lot of this is rural property too, like property out, in areas that, maybe St. John Parish, St. Charles Parish, where it's just generational, and great grandfather bought, a farm or something, and they just sort of kind of lived in it, didn't do anything to update. It might be 10 or 15 acres, and before 3 or 4 generations later, you got 20, 25, 30 owners, and I mean, it can be partitioned, but it's for one person to do, who has a 1/25th interest, it's probably not economically viable in some cases. But it's interesting. It's happening more and more now. That's one of the things that we deal with more and more on a daily basis. All right.
Yeah. And the moral of the story is take care of your business. As somebody dies, change the title and get everybody placed in possession. If people want out, buy them out, and should do it as you go.
That's right.
Then it's not a big mess.
So we're hour number 1's in the can. We'll be back for hour number 2 in a few minutes. Stay tuned for national news, local news. We'll see you back in about 10 minutes and all things legal. See you then.
Home of LSU. 870 AM WWL New Orleans, 105.3 WWL FM and HD1 Kenner New Orleans, and Odyssey Station.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Lisa Mateo. With temperatures soaring into the 90s, Americans are looking for ways to cool off. WCCO's Mariel Mose spoke to some beachgoers at Minnesota's Lake Anne.
Amber Paulson and Piper Miller took their raft out to the middle of the water to cool off.
Definitely go into the water. It feels amazing.
After a year of being stuck inside during the pandemic, 90 degrees is not going to keep anyone inside any longer.
If we get hot enough, we'll be in the water.
The number of new COVID cases and deaths are falling, but the news isn't all good. More from CBS's Michael George.
Experts warn that low case counts could trick people into a false sense of security.
Next fall, we could see another tick up.
This restaurateur says he and his employees are keeping their face coverings on.
I think it's a good practice till we literally defeat the pandemic, if that's possible.
According to the CDC, 52% of adults in the U.S. are now fully vaccinated. Reuters is reporting U.S. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm says the House will begin an infrastructure markup on the president's plan on Wednesday. A majority of the debate lies over how to fund the package. CBS's Christina Ruffini.
Now the parties are really at odds on how to pay for it. Republicans want to redistribute some of these unused COVID funds from that bill earlier this year, whereas Democrats are now proposing a 15% minimum corporate tax.
Donald Trump touches upon his social media banishment. More from CBS's Tom Foti.
Addressing North Carolina Republicans, former President Trump discussed his extended ban from Facebook. Facebook suspended his account after the January riot by a mob of his followers. It remains in place till at least January of 2023.
Essential Quality takes home the top prize at the Belmont Stakes. But as WCBS's Christy Kalishian reports, a lot of the action took place outside of the gates as protesters demanded an end to the sport.
The goal is not to change horse betting, but to end it.
They're dying of cardiac collapse, pulmonary hemorrhage, blunt force head trauma, broken necks, severed spines.
An average of 40 horse deaths have taken place at Belmont Park every year since 2009.
In Washington, D.C., many people like William Cole came to commemorate the first anniversary of Black Lives Matter Plaza this weekend. He said more work needs to be done.
Got the ball rolling, but I think now it's time to implement some policies and put some writing behind all of that protesting.
To help in the effort, San Francisco has initiated street crisis response to handle nonviolent 911 calls with people of mental health.
These response teams have behavioral therapists, someone trained in dealing with mental illness, mental distress, peer counselors. These are people often who are formerly homeless people, perhaps a recovering addict, someone who knows what it's like to live on the streets.
John Blackstone on CBS Sunday Morning. This is CBS News.
Get CBS News Radio on the Odyssey app. All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. News, music, sports, and podcasts. Download the Odyssey app today.
Do you check your Google search results regularly? You should. People often get their first impression of you or your business online. Negative comments on the internet can impact your life and your livelihood. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with reputationdefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-401-6681. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681. 800-401-6681. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWL AM, FM, and .com.
Partly cloudy conditions to start off our Sunday morning across southeast Louisiana, but once again, rain chances remain pretty high through the morning, lasting into the afternoon.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist, Michelle Morgan. 8 people were shot just after midnight in the Little Woods area of New Orleans East. One woman is in critical condition after being shot in the face and was transported to a hospital along with another victim. The remaining 6 all went to hospitals on their own with less critical injuries. NOPD is working the case. So far, no arrests have been made and no motive for the crime has surfaced. If you have any information about this crime, you are urged to call Crime Stoppers. Meanwhile, 2 more shootings took place in downtown New Orleans. With word on those crimes, we go to WWL-TV's Paul Dudley.
2 separate shootings that happened downtown. Police say just after midnight, a man was shot in the lower body on Poitiers Street near Carondelet. Then around 1:45 a.m., another man was shot in the leg on Canal Street near the Tulane University Hospital. It is a violent morning. Of course, they are looking for any information to help investigators. If you've got any information that could help them, if you know anything that could help investigators, you're encouraged to call Crime Stoppers.
A number of carjackings are keeping NOPD busy. WWL-TV's Devin Bartolotta has the details.
Police are also investigating 3 armed carjackings. The first was around 3 p.m. in the 2400 block of Jasmine Street, that's in Gentilly. The second and third both happened around 7, one at St. Claude and Franklin Avenues, the other in the Pines Village area of New Orleans East. In each case, officials tell us the suspects were 2 black males, but have not said if they're believed to be related. Though it is worth noting the time and locations of the last 2 carjackings make it unlikely that they were connected.
Here's Mark Menard with WWL Sports.
A big afternoon by freshman star Dylan Cruz helped keep LSU alive in Eugene.
Dylan Cruz to lead it off. First pitch, high and deep to left center field. They'll give chase, but it's gone! Back-to-back home runs for Dylan Cruz.
The Tigers took down Central Connecticut State 6-5 in 10 innings yesterday, sending the Blue Devils to the offseason and setting up a rematch between LSU and Gonzaga today at 5. It's yours right here on WWL. Started with pregame coverage at 4:30. A win would mean another game at 9 tonight against the host team Oregon. A loss ends the season and Paul Maneri's coaching career. Louisiana Tech had no answer for NC State yesterday, getting beat by the Wolfpack at home in Ruston 8-3. Now the Bulldogs need a win to stay alive when they face Alabama at 2 p.m. today. They'd also play again with a win. They'd earn a rematch with NC State at 6. Both Southern and McNeese saw their playoff journeys end, with the Jags losing to Fairfield in Austin 6-2. The Cowboys getting ousted by Oregon State in Fort Worth 10-5. I'm Mark Menard, WWL Sports.
The full forecast from your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
Starting off with plenty of clouds across the area, a few sprinkles to kick off our Sunday, but scattered showers once again remain the forecast through the morning, lasting into the afternoon. Can't rule out quick heavy downpours through the day. There is a flash flood watch in effect up until tonight. Tonight, though, we're looking at partly cloudy skies, a few sprinkles here and there with overnight temperatures falling into the mid-70s. Monday, starting off with clouds and starting off with a few sprinkles, but scattered showers are possible with quick heavy downpours. Temperatures will be near average, climbing into the upper 80s. From your Weather Expert Forecast Center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news talk sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakwinard Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Hour number 2. We're until 10 o'clock. Today, LSU plays 5 o'clock, pregame 4:30. First pitch 5 o'clock against Gonzaga, and they got to win 3 in a row. Now, I do remember in 1980, 89 or 87, where LSU had to beat Texas A&M in a doubleheader, and they were ranked number 1 in the nation to get to the College World Series, and they did it. But I'm not quite as optimistic this time. But there's always hope, huh? There's always hope. But LSU plays at 3 o'clock. Now, if you notice in the College World Series, I love college baseball. I don't watch much Major League Baseball anymore for whatever reason. But college baseball is great. And you'll notice as you get into Game 3 and Game 4, the runs are going to start getting higher. In other words, the games on Friday a lot of them were low scoring. I think yesterday you had 4 games that were almost 20 runs. So as you get deeper into the pitching, you're going to score. They're going to score a lot more runs. But what I'm leading to is when LSU plays Gonzaga today, they're going to have to outscore them because the pitching's going to start getting thin, because you're going to start getting down to the bottom of your staff. So last night when Oregon was playing Gonzaga, they were saying, who were you rooting for? I was rooting for extra innings, which didn't happen. Oregon won 7-3 because you want the your opponents to go as deep in their staff as possible, get those pitch counts up so you could get to the bottom level of their pitchers. But you're basically going to have to out hit. If LSU is going to win 1, 2, or 3 games in the next 36 hours of 48 hours, is they're going to have to out hit them because they're pitching. They're burning their pitching. They're very burnt.
Right.
Hilliard, they're very burnt.
So
Marcinelle.
LSU's lost and they're in the losers bracket. Is that the deal?
They lost to Gonzaga 3-0 against this pitcher. They couldn't. He was a goofy pitcher. He was all arms and legs. Didn't really throw hard. Had a lot of movement on his ball, and they just couldn't hit him. I mean, they were all off balance all game, and they only had 4 hits. Then they played Central Connecticut yesterday. They had a walk-off single by Gio, and so he was 6-5. So they played today 5:00. Gonzaga lost last night 7-3. Gonzaga is a veteran team that's very smart, very disciplined. They don't have a lot of firepower. They just play fundamental baseball. They don't swing at bad pitches. They play good defense. They play smart, but they don't have the firepower that LSU does. So, and LSU's defense has been shaky. The game Friday night was very shaky defensively. They're young. I mean, LSU has 7 or 8 true freshmen that are contributing, which, regardless of how we do, this is going to be a good experience for them. Where most of these teams have 5th and 6th year seniors because their eligibility, they didn't lose eligibility due to their COVID season. It's like this Gonzaga team has 8 or 9 5th and 6th year seniors. LSU's basically the core of their team is true freshmen. So that accounts for a lot of their inconsistency this year. And they will really, really be good the next 2 years. But they do have the ability to make things happen. It's just the level of consistency has been a difficulty. So they can go in there, they could go in there, score 10, 12 runs, or they could get 3 or 4 hits for the next game. And it's just a game-to-game thing. So, but there's always hope, and stranger things have happened. But if LSU is going to win, they're going to have to out-hit Gonzaga and Oregon, or whoever they're going to. It'd be Gonzaga and Oregon. That's the only way they're going to do it because their pitching's pretty much.
And they've got to win 2 in a row or 3 in a row.
They have to win 3 in a row. They'd have to win today at 5. If they win, they come back at 9:00 tonight, 7:00 local time to play again. And if they win that game, they would play tomorrow at, I think, 3:00. Which means if they are playing at 3:00, my 4 and 5 o'clock appointments will have to be rescheduled. Unless they want an appointment with me watching one eye on TV. No, I'm just kidding. So we'll see. I think it's a good experience for those young guys. I'm not, if I was a betting person, they might, I would put their percentages of winning all 3 at less than 5%, 10% at best, but probably closer to 5%. But you never know. You never know, and if they come alive and play together, some good things could happen. And so kudos to Coach Paul Maneri, a great career at LSU. And, I hope they send him out in a good fashion. I was watching the Tennessee Rider game too. It's just an observation I had. And Tennessee, I think it was Wright State, and Wright State was up 8-5, and Tennessee hit a walk-off grand slam.
Wow.
But I watched, and I think his name was Dustin, the classlessness that he displayed during that walk-off was just appalling. If you replay it, he flips the bat, and this is right. I think this was a Wright State. This is like a Fairfield or in the NCAA tournament when you have these 15 seeds and all who try to take out the big guy. It was a great game, and they played their heart out. And he flips the bat, Stares at the ball going out the stadium. He stares down Wright State and does this horrible spectacle running around the bases. And it was just probably the worst sportsmanship, the worst, most classless act that I've seen in a home run and winning a game. And I was thinking one of the potential candidates for LSU's vacant coaching job is Tony Vitello. Up until that time, I thought he would have been a good candidate. And I'm thinking any coach who would allow that spectacle to happen and not, and rein it in. I don't want him coaching LSU. I don't want anybody who would allow that classless act to occur. I mean, it's just horrible, And it's just a sign of the times. But I like the player who acts like he's done it before.
Right.
And gives a lot of credit to a team that had no business being in the game with Tennessee to make them, win at the last moment. Have compassion and empathy, and have, to say, hey, I applaud for you guys fighting your hearts out, and we beat you. But being in a very class, in class, and I just thought it was horrible. But sign of the times, and I like the Earl Campbell style. When you score a touchdown, you just give it to the referee. I've been here before. It's no big deal. But anyway, there you go on that. And you know what? I think we were talking about this. A couple of lawsuits that I just came across that's interesting. Albert, you've been married forever, but maybe you could relate to this or that. Maybe 40 years ago, a Texas man made international news and became a poster boy for pettiness when he sued a woman after he called for the first date from hell. Brandon Besmore, 37, went on a date with a woman he met on social media and was angered when she spent the whole night on her phone. He sued the woman, hoping to get back the $17.31 he spent taking her to the movies. So,
what movie did he go to and only spend $17?
Maybe that's why she was on the phone, because he didn't want to buy the popcorn.
Must have been a matinee or something.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You can't walk through the door. I mean, the Coke cost $17, doesn't it, with tax? So
Exactly.
what she did give him the money back as a settlement. So she did pay back the $17.31
in pennies, right?
In pennies. Well, you can't do that. I've seen somebody try to do that at traffic court to pay in pennies, and they didn't buy that because he was mad that he was cited. I was there. I watched the whole thing, and he was cited. They refused to take it.
Well, that's just paying the clerk. That's paying the traffic court. You can pay a settlement in pennies. $100,000 settlement. Here you go. Come backing up the truck.
Now, maybe we could lead this into Louisiana laws as far as evictions concerned, but maybe here's another lawsuit. Parents sue son for mooching. A New York couple took their 30-year-old son in court to hope a judge would force him to move out the house. Mark and Christina Rotondo sent their son a series of eviction notices offering them more than $1,000 help to get out their house and get a new place. After the notices failed, the parents filed a court order for Michael to pack his stuff and go and get out. The son didn't have a job, probably sat watched, played video games all day, and refused to leave, and the judge ordered him out of the home. So, but now this happens, and I'm bringing this up because this often happens in Louisiana. Like, let's say you have a guy who, I'm going to get in trouble, but let's say a guy invites a girl home for a night and she ends up staying for a month or two. And then things go sour and they say, no, I'll get out, and they won't.
Right. And honestly, we get those calls.
That's why I brought it up. That's why I brought it up.
I got a roommate, or I've got his girlfriend, and she won't move out. She won't. I don't know what to do. And so, my advice always is, take a picture, tack a notice on the door for them to get out on their bedroom door, take a photo of it, and file for an eviction and get a court order to do it. I mean, the old days, you would just take her stuff and throw it on the lawn and say, if you don't want to get out, here you go. I'm changing the locks and see you later.
But that's the old days. Can't do that.
Well, no, and that's when things escalated, and next thing you know, your tires are flat or whatever the case may be. So, but yeah, that's the best advice for that. But we are getting those calls, and I guess we talked about co-owned property before. Two people buy a house together. Two friends, or cohabitating couple, and next thing you know, things aren't working out. And now it's the laws of co-ownership and not the family law, divorce laws. They're similar, but they're different rules and idiosyncrasies having to deal with that. And I think a good advice is to have an exit strategy on the way in. If we decide, I had a situation where somebody moved in, and the person owned this house for years before that person moved in, and as an act of kindness or love or whatever the case may be, put their name on the title.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, things aren't working out, and now what? And so we have to, got to go get it all worked out and deal with it. So.
Yeah. Well, sometimes when you discuss the exit strategy, then the movie never happens.
Exactly.
They don't want to do it. So, all right, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your Weekend Lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Odyssey is the best way to power your day, giving you so many ways to stay connected to all the audio that
Okay, I have Justin on the phone.
At home, kick back and listen to Odyssey on your favorite home entertainment devices like Roku and Chromecast. And you can ask Alexa or Google to play your station hands-free. Listen in your car with the Waze app, Apple CarPlay, and more to stay connected on the go. Get your favorites on AUDACY. Discover a universe of audio everywhere. Odyssey.
With round-the-clock protection at a great price, your Progressive policy works the way it's supposed to, unlike this unenthusiastic hype man.
Okay, everybody, let's make some noise. Put your hands up. Or not. It's your call. Here we go now. Here we go.
Switch to Progressive today.
It is electric in here.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a lot of streaming services out there, each filled with reality TV, comedy, drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one dedicated entirely to nonfiction TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming.
I also have Jim from Mississippi who wants to talk about crime in New Orleans.
Don't buy plastic toys for your pet. Look for either natural materials like cotton, rope, wood, or bamboo. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
Diamonds Direct says hello to summer with the hottest offer
5 years, zero interest financing on any purchase. Yes! Now for a limited time, you get Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable price, pay nothing down, and spread your payments over 5 years with zero interest. It's the smartest and best way to buy. And with this, it's so easy to splurge. A $9,000 designer bracelet comes out to just $150 a month. A $12,000 engagement ring is just $200 a month. And nothing's held back. All fashion rings, every engagement ring now, diamond earrings, all new designer fashion jewelry, large, rare diamonds. Whether you spend $3,000 or $300,000, you can get 5 years, zero interest financing. Celebrate summer, celebrate life, celebrate love. Don't miss this chance to get that piece of jewelry they'll love and appreciate for years. And take advantage of 5 years, zero interest financing with no money down. Now for a limited time only, and only at Diamonds Direct. On approved credit. On Severn Avenue, across from Lakeside Mall.
Ready to remodel your home? Ready to get inspired? Then get ready for the St. Tammany Home and Remodeling Show. Thousands of the newest home products and ideas are waiting for you. Kitchens, baths, windows, flooring, landscaping, and more. Everything to create your outdoor paradise, gourmet kitchen, or new addition, plus certified Louisiana Food Fest. Free tastings and samples of great food. All from Louisiana homegrown companies. The St. Tammany Home and Remodeling Show, presented by the North Shore HBA, June 12th and 13th. Castine Center, Manderville.
Hey, Gulfport, we want your stuff. DependableStorage.com.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nicaud and Sunseri now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. I had another case I want to tell you about, and I thought about Skip Bertman when I said this, and I'll tie it together later. The great Skip Bertman. They had the documentary on the SEC network on Hold the Rope, which I think I've watched about 5 times so far. But and I'll tie it in. But they had an Australian woman who sued a salon after claiming the stylist ruined her hair, seriously damaging it in a botched dye job. Jessica Bray claimed a colorist at a hair studio did such a bad job bleaching her roots that it caused a lot of her hair to fall out. Rather than simply writing a bad review on Yelp and asking for a refund, she decided to sue for $30,000, citing humiliation and wig expenses. So, again, you can sue for anything in a court.
I can see that.
You can see that?
Yes, as a person whose hair has fallen out, I'm sensitive to that. I want 12 bald people on that jury.
You want 12?
Right?
Is that? Yeah, I guess so. Huh?
Yeah, right. Hey, look, I my hair fell out, and now I've got to wait till it grows back. It's going to be months and months. I can see where that's a legitimate case if the person actually did something wrong, or if it's a product issue, if they mixed it wrong or applied it too long, or whatever the case may be. I think that's an actionable offense. And there are a lot of people these days that, stop off to get their Botox and do all these things to make themselves beautiful. And then to have someone, their negligence, ruin their hair and make it fall out. I don't think that's as crazy as, the movie issue.
Well, she sued for $30,000, but she got $400. So
there you go.
$400. Yeah. So you're right. She didn't get $30,000 about the humiliation, that sort of thing. So,
exactly.
Which makes me think about Skip Bertman, because he had a joke. He used to, every time he played Mississippi State, his good friend was Coach Ron Polk, and he'd make jokes about Starkville. He's a very clever guy. And one of his jokes about Starkville, Mississippi was he would say, when you go to a beauty parlor in Starkville, they would give estimates. So anyway, that was a Skip Bertman joke. But anyway, I thought about him when I saw this, about the bad hair. And so there you go. Also, and we talked about this before, there's another lawsuit. You see, when you have laws and you have there's always unanticipated consequences of allowing certain court precedent and also allowing, passing certain laws. But again, they had Emil Rattlebaum. He filed suit for being discriminated over because he wanted to identify as being 49 years old when he was 69 years old. He said if he identified as 49 years old because he looks young for 69, that he would be able to score with the women better. And so he wanted to ask the court to officially cut his age from 69 to 49. The judge said, nope, it's going to set a bad precedent, which obviously the judge was not in California, because if he was in California, I think they would have allowed him to do that. But anyway, so, identifying as something you're not is now starting to reap its consequences through the court system. So there you go. So, but anyway, a lot of times it's one of the things you do when you do go to the legislature, what lawyers do, is that a lot of times when you have the issue of the day, politicians don't want to vote against the issue of the day. A lot of them don't. And so what they do is they often bring lawyers and others to testify saying, okay, I understand this law comes from good intentions. But when it comes from good intentions, there's going to be unanticipated consequences from these good intentions. And this is what it would be. And that's what the lawyers sort of look forward looking, saying, if you pass this, this is going to have an effect in other areas that you don't see right now that are going to make things worse or might have, unintended consequences to it. And so, that's one of them. And, when we used to go to the legislature on these issues, especially on, the unintended consequences of, maybe, having people identify with something they're not, is going to have, all these other areas of unintended.
Well, I think a good example is that in some of these states where they're allowing, transgender men to compete against women, and so here it is, they've spent years and years, rightly so, bringing women's sports, women's athletics, women's rights, Title IX, all that sort of thing into the forefront to protect, women and make sure that they have a voice and a say in athletics. And now all of a sudden they're introducing men into women's sports and allowing them to compete. And so it's one of those things where does it stop, and where do we keep pushing the line to, and is there even a line anymore? And now all of a sudden, these people who are supporting women's rights now are being, faced with having to try support some other person's rights who are overlapping these rights, and it's just there's no stopping it, right? And what about society's rights?
Well, 4 years ago when I went to the legislature, and I was sort of poo-pooed, saying you're just being outrageous, is that I said, when you had the transgender rights in the workplace, I said, you're going to put the employer in a bad situation, because if you have a woman who identifies as a man going to the women's bathroom, you're going to have two complaints. You're going to have complaints from the women who saying a man's in the bathroom and I'm in the women's bathroom, and you're going to have a complaint against transgender saying I should be able to use the women's bathroom. I had said that in the testimony. It was actually reported by the Washington Times, and the committee, a couple on the committee, was saying, "Oh, you're just trying to, it's sort of fictitious. This is really not going to happen." Well, it did happen 4 days later in the Capitol. But what happens in that situation is the employer's in a no-win situation. If he backs the woman, then he's infringing on the transgender rights. If he backs the transgender, he's infringing on the women's rights, and he's in a no-win situation. And so, those are some of the anticipated consequences. And now you have athletics, which is unfair, because there is biological differences, whether you call yourself man or woman or not. There's biological differences, and that's why they have the separation for women's sports and men's sports, so that they can compete on an even plane. And now you're having women who work all their lives and track and field and all these, and who would be number one in the state, but for the fact that someone who wakes up in the morning and says, I'm a man or a woman, competes. Now, here's the other thing too we're talking about. What's the threshold? I mean, I have to admit, this is a confession. When I go to the Saints game and I see the men's bathroom back extending out about 50 feet, and there's no line for the women's bathroom, at that moment I may want to identify as a woman, just so for about 3 minutes, right?
Right.
So go to the bathroom, get in and get out. But I know I can't do that. But my point being is, what's the threshold? Do you sign a piece of paper? Do you put something on social media? What is it to say I'm a woman today? But those are the questions that nobody wants to talk about. But those are legal issues that the courts will have to grapple with in the future on this particular issue. So, all right. Now that we're probably going to get in a lot of trouble, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this break.
Go home.
Win big money every hour. Win $1,000.
Okay, we got 3 holding.
Today, the artist who we got?
Right now it's a 2 holding. Actually, Justin, and we have Abdul, a tent maker, who has a question about the property distribution.
We're going to
At
take
Oakland Heart
Abdul
Jewelers,
first, okay?
we're
You got it.
about making your dreams come true.
Oh, he just
We
dropped
know that
off.
every piece
Sorry,
of
Justin's holding.
an expression of your love. A great way to say I love you is with the gift of diamond stud earrings from Oakland Heart.
Say again?
An Oakland Heart family member personally searches through thousands of diamonds and
Oh, yeah.
He goes back.
Hang on, I got another call coming in. It may be Abdul again. We'll see.
biggest size with the most fire and brilliance for your money. We buy direct and cut out the middleman. That's how we bring you the best for less. Oakland Heart diamond stud earrings are like no other. Why give ordinary when you can give extraordinary? Shop smart, online or around town.
Okay, we got Abdul back, so we'll get to him next.
Oakland Heart diamond stud earrings anywhere. And nothing says she means everything to you like a gift from Oakland Heart Jewelers on Metairie Road. Beautiful in more ways than one.
Hey, y'all, spring is here, and you're ready to get out and celebrate. Here's what's happening around the state. June 3rd through 5th, Bugs and Bands in Kickapoo. June 4th through 6th, Beaumont in Gaines, and Sicilian Heritage Festival in Independence. June 5th, the Peach Festival in Ruston, and Cajun Country Jam in Gonzales. So make your plans to laissez les bon temps rouler.
This is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nutgatcher. Plan your road trip at LouisianaIsATrip.com.
I'm former NBA player Don Chaney. For years, I had carpal tunnel syndrome and joint pain. Then I started having heart-related symptoms like fatigue and palpitations. Turns out I had heart failure caused by hereditary transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare, life-threatening disease underdiagnosed in African Americans. If you're African American and over 50 with heart failure experiencing unresolved symptoms, talk to your doctor or visit DonKnowsHisHeart.com.
Doing your best work from home is not easy when you don't have the right space. California Closets will help you create a custom solution that works for you, your family, and your life. Whether it's a small space, shared space, multifunctional space, or kids space, our professional design consultants will help you get organized and make your space one that works better for you. Now you can love where you live and work. Schedule your free in-home or virtual design consultation today at CaliforniaClosets.com.
Your life, your hopes, your passions. These things are none of our business. Your deodorant rash, your favorite cheese, and whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m., that's really none of our business. Because your life is private, and unlike other tech companies, we think your internet should be too. Oh, what kind of dog is that? That's none of our business either. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
You know, you've heard me talk about Crystal Clear Imaging. They do banners and billboards and building wraps and retail signage, stadium branding, transportation graphics. The list goes on and on. but they do more than that. Pure Petal is this apparatus that distributes disinfectant hand cream for the purposes of COVID. They designed it so that it's touch-free. From NFL stadiums to yard signs, they do it all. Check out crystalclearimaging.com. Crystal Clear Imaging.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
I'm listening daily. Here's Demi Lovato on how they stay positive.
The forms of self-care that I'm engaging in during this painful but necessary moment in history, I'm meditating a lot. Whether it's like in between breaks on set or it's starting my day, meditation has become key to me. Also just taking care of myself in other ways, making sure I get rest, things like that.
For more details, go to imlistening.org.
All things legal on WWL-AMFM.com and the Odyssey app. Connect with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you weekend lawyers, all things legal. Let's go to Abdul, the tent maker, a inductee of the Buddy DiLiberto Hall of Fame. Hey, Abdul, good to hear from you.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning.
Good.
Hey, I just want to correct you one thing quick. I haven't seen a lot of men identified as women at the Superdome, but since the women's line is usually longer, I've seen a lot of women for 3 minutes identify as men and use the men's restroom.
That's true. You're right. Yeah. You're right there.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to ask you guys a quick question. I'll be as quick as possible. My parents bought some property across the lake years ago. It's kind of a weekend getaway kind of deal, and they're getting up in age, and they're still paying the property taxes and other expenses that come along with that. We want to get that burden off of them, and we tried to buy the property from them. They don't want to sell it to us. They kind of just want to give it to us, and there are 5 siblings involved here. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. So what's our best venue, our best route to handle that?
Well, one of the issues you're looking at, or perhaps the tax consequences from a capital gains standpoint. So, let's say they bought it years and years ago for $20,000, and now the property's worth $200,000. So the cost basis is $20,000. So you're going to pay a capital gains tax, minus some depreciation and things, and the CPAs figure all that out. But you're going to pay a capital gains tax on $180,000. And, if you wait until they're both deceased and the property is turned over to you, then you don't pay that. You get a stepped up basis. So that's one of the considerations. The other consideration is if they want to donate the property to you, they can do an active donation and donate the property to all of you and equally. And then, they can, or sell it. I mean, if no one's interested in the property, then they just put it up for sale and pay the capital gains tax, whatever it might be, and, sell it from there. I mean, this way you don't need any of the children's consent. Both parents are alive. They put it up for sale and live off the money or give the money to the kids or their grandkids or whatever they choose to do.
Well, we want to keep the property in the family. It's where we have our hunting camp. We have a couple of trailers. All the kids have, little trailers on the property, and we want to keep it in the family. So I'm guessing the active donation would be our best route.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty simple to do. And all of the siblings are on board. Everybody wants their share of it, or is there, somebody that lives out of town that would never use it and really have no interest in sharing the costs?
No, we're all interested in maintaining the property and keeping it in the family. We just want to keep it for the kids and the grandkids down the road. It's not worth a lot of money. I'm going to say they paid $30,000 for it years ago. It's out in the boonies and the woods, so there's not a lot of value there. So any tax burden we might have, we can split between the five of us,
Sure. Well, there you go. And that's probably the thing to do. It's pretty easy process to go ahead and do an active donation, and you list the property description and you record it in the public records.
Very good. I appreciate it, guys.
All right,
Thank
Abdul.
you so much. That's what I needed to hear.
Great to hear from you, Abdul. Let's go to Justin, the official beneficiary of the unfunded Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm Trust. Hey, Justin, you on all things legal.
Hey, I knew that was coming, Doug.
You knew that was coming.
Hey, good morning, Doug and Albert. Wait, whose birthday is it today?
It's Albert's.
Actually, mine was yesterday, June 5th.
Happy birthday, Albert.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Happy birthday.
Yes.
You finally reached 40 years old, did you?
20th anniversary of 40.
Exactly.
Oh, come on, don't say that. Well, as a birthday present to Albert, and Doug can chime in when he wants, here's a tree story.
Okay, there you go.
Uh-oh.
All right, well, I'm a tenant. Let me recap. I'm a tenant in an apartment building. And my landlord, who's a very nice guy, very sweet person, I know his family, he had a tree that was blown over from the hurricane last year. And I paid $150 to finish the job, cut it down. Well, he told me I won't be mad at you, Justin, if you cut it down. But he was mad that the guy who cut it down didn't cut it low enough. And I said, well, that's not my problem. So, and we've talked about dealing with your neighbors and your landlords instead of going to court and all that stuff. Well, I told him, I said, well, what do you want to do? And I says, well, I have a little chainsaw. I said, he has a chainsaw that's like found at the bottom of a cereal box. It's like so tiny. I said, why don't you get a real chainsaw? And he says, what we need to do is just pull it out of the fence and put it in the side of the road, and then we'll cut it up then. So I offered to say, look, I'll help you do that. No one will charge you for that. And the thing is, my point is that I dealt with my landlord personally without having to go to court or using lawyers or anything. Nothing personal.
Right. Yeah, getting that fee agreement with the retainer amount on it makes you all of a sudden sometimes become a little more compliant and more willing to work things out, because justice costs. I don't care if we have to take this to the Supreme Court. I'm like, you will care as you start paying the attorney's fee bills. And so you might want to reconsider your position. And, we've got clients that have an unrealized I guess an unsupported expectation of how things go. 9 times out of 10, when there is a lawsuit filed, maybe 99 times out of 100, there are no provisions for attorney's fees. And so what you have to explain to your client on the front end is, listen, we may be successful in this lawsuit. Let's approach this a certain way to try to get to a settlement. And, I've got a client right now that's got probably about $25,000 claim against a contractor. Actually, it's against the seller, and we're not sure yet. They may be the seller contractor. But so we're doing a little investigation into that. But my point is, there was a settlement offer on the table that was somewhat less than the $25,000. And it was necessary for me to explain to that client that, listen, every time we talk on the phone, every email that I send, every bit of work that I do on this file, you are losing money. Well, right, but they are losing money. So that $25,000 is getting reduced every single time that the lawyer has to do something, every court cost, every deposition, everything that goes on. And so the point is, you need to understand that when you want justice, justice costs money. And unless there are provisions for an attorney's fee for fraud, or by contract or by statute, which are few and far between, you're not going to recover your attorney's fees. And so, it might cost you, if you soup to nuts from start to finish, it might cost you $10,000, $15,000 to go try this $25,000 case. So if they want to offer you,
you still hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. But if they want to offer you,
I'm sorry to interrupt, Albert. I'm sorry to interrupt. Now, when you said justice costs money, it does cost money. But for me, the justice is going to cost me sweat, because all I have to do is drag this tree out of the yard and my landlord will be happy. That's all I need to do. I don't have to pay any money.
Exactly. No, you're right. And I mean, that's just sensible, and we try to make it a point to say it on the front end, guys, look, we're not here to take your money. And we want to try to get this resolved as quickly as we can. Right. You have to understand, in resolution, you're going to walk away a little bit less because there is a cost of either defending the case or prosecuting the case. And so that needs to be factored in, and you need to back off of the emotion of it all. And, I'm just mad at my neighbor and da-da-da-da-da. Back off of it, be reasonable, and say, look, this is a money decision, because eventually that's what it is going to be. It's going to be about finances. And when you start paying those legal bills every month, you get frustrated and more frustrated. And so we try to do the best we can to explain that concept on the front end, so people don't have this expectation of getting 100% of their damages plus all of their attorney's fees and costs paid.
Yeah, Justin, I always tell people, you don't want to be in those green books in our library. Because
look, I'm going to get on the phone. Yeah. Happy birthday, Albert, and God bless you guys and your families, and y'all have a great weekend, all right?
And the check, and Justin, the check from the trust is not on its way. So there you go.
I knew that was going to come.
All right.
I knew that.
Let's go to a break. Sunseri, Albert, Nicaud, your Weekend Lawyers. We'll be right back.
Diamonds Direct says hello to summer with the hottest offer ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing on any purchase.
Okay, you'll have about 3 minutes.
Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable price. Pay nothing down and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. It's the smartest and best way to buy. And with this, it's so easy to splurge. A $9,000 designer bracelet comes out to just $150 a month. A $12,000 engagement ring is just $200 a month. And nothing's held back. All fashion rings, every engagement ring mounted, diamond earrings, all new designer fashion jewelry, large, rare diamonds. Whether you spend $3,000 or $300,000, you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing. Celebrate summer, celebrate life, celebrate love. Don't miss this chance to get that piece of jewelry they'll love and appreciate for years. And take advantage of 5 years, 0 interest financing with no money down. Now for a limited time only, and only at Diamonds Direct. On approved credit. On Severn Avenue, across from Lakeside Mall.
Do you have Medicare and Medicaid? You may be entitled to better benefits with People's Health, including a $300 per quarter allowance for over-the-counter health and wellness items, a $55 per month allowance for healthy foods, free transportation to medical appointments, a free gym membership, and dental, vision, and hearing coverage. If you have Medicare and Medicaid, take a look at the benefits of People's Health. Learn more at peopleshealth.com.
Come on down to the Silver Slipper.
Hi, this is John from the Silver Slipper, and I just want to tell you about our very latest, very special promotion. Now, when you play here at the Slipper any day in April, May, and June, you'll be earning entries to win your choice of a Ninja air fry oven, or a blender system, or an indoor grill every evening at 7 p.m. We're going to do this every night for 3 consecutive months, so come on down to the Slipper and earn your chance to win. We're on the beach here in Hancock County, Silver Slipper Casino. We are proud to be your host on the coast.
Have a good time at the Silver Slipper.
This is attorney Doug Sunseri, host of All Things Legal on Sunday morning.
This is attorney Michelle Demarest Sunseri. As a result of COVID-19, many are experiencing unique family law difficulties resulting in divorce and custody issues.
Also, we learn the importance of estate planning, wills, and powers of attorney.
At Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm, we make the complex understandable.
Call me at my Metairie office at 504-837-1304.
Or call me, the boss lady, on the North Shore at my new office in Mandeville at 985-624-9697.
Boss lady, really?
If home is where the heart is, a roof is its shield. That's why for nearly 30 years, homeowners have trusted Garcia Roofing. For more information, visit GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then try Babbel. Text Babbel to 64,000 and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just text Babbel to 64,000 and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel to 64,000. Babbel to 64,000.
Progressive's Home Quote Explorer is changing the way you buy home insurance. Now you can go online, get a custom quote, and save both time and money. Learn more at Progressive.com.
Now, more All Things Legal, underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinion shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. You can call us also at a law firm at 504-837-1304, 504-837-1304, or North Shore 985-624-9697. Also, stay tuned for later today. LSU's playing at 5 o'clock against Gonzaga. First pitch at 4:30. And Albert, we were talking about, you were making a very good point, is that I always tell clients, I said, we have these green books that we never open up anymore because it's too expensive to throw away, but they were all the old cases that we used to get before there was computers. And I said, you really don't want to be in those green books because it's going to cost you a lot of money, generally, because
the statute, but the digests are those are court of appeal books that report on cases from the courts of appeal and Supreme Court where you've not already spent the money or just spent the money on a trial, but now you're spending the money at the Court of Appeal to brief the issue, pay for the record, pay for the transcript, pay for the lawyer to do all the briefs and attend the hearings. And and then all of a sudden, this cost you a whole lot more than you probably ever anticipated. The bottom line is litigation is expensive. And again, that's litigation. There are a lot of other things that we as lawyers do besides litigate. And one of those things is prepare contracts on your behalf, whether they're leases, whether they're operating agreements, whether they're buy-sell agreements, with the transactional work. And that's where you really need someone to perhaps keep you out of a lawsuit and keep away from the courts and running up that, extremely high expense.
What's that saying? An ounce prevention is better than a pound of flesh.
A pound of cure, I think, but that's
I
it.
know.
A pound of flesh?
I was using flesh. But yeah. So, I mean, a lot of times in giving advice to businesses, it's not only is to stay out of a lawsuit, how to be beyond reproach, so that because if you get sued, you're already lost. A lot of times the winner in a lawsuit is whoever loses the least. So there you go. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. Stay tuned. LSU is going to be on in a few hours. So we'll see you next week. Albert, happy 60th birthday.
Thank
You know,
Thank you very
another
much.
40 years, 45 years would be good. And
There you go.
tell Allie
Well, I'll
congratulations.
stick around as long as the good Lord will keep me here.
Y'all did a good job with Allie too. So see you next week. God bless.
Home of the Saints and LSU football, basketball, and baseball. 870 AM WWL New Orleans, 105.3